Hello to all the dear students of class 9. I'm back with another chapter, working with the institutions. So as per the syllabus, this will be the last chapter from your political science book. And if you know, in the last video, we studied about electoral politics. Okay, so now we are going to read about institutions. So in a democracy, that we know that we elect our leaders, right? So the rulers that we elect, they have to follow some rules and procedures, okay? And they have to work with and within institutions. So in this chapter, we are going to study about such institutions in a democracy. Okay, so we will try to understand first by looking into the manner in which decisions are taken and implemented in our country. Okay, and when these decisions are implemented, okay, there can be sometimes disputes may arise. All right, so in that case, how are these disputes regarding these decisions resolved? Okay, so in this process we come across three institutions that play a key role in the major decisions, that is legislature, executive and judiciary. All right, so we are basically going to learn about the working of these three institutions, okay, how they make democracy a form of a government altogether. That is what we are going to learn in this chapter. Let's take a quick overview. So we are first going to start with what office memorandum means. Okay, then we are going to read about Mandal commissions. Okay, political institutions will be the next topic we'll be reading. Okay, and then we'll be focusing on the three main institutions. We will start with legislature or the parliament. Okay, here we will be reading about the two houses of parliament. Okay, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Then we will move on to understand the executive. There are two kinds of executive we will be reading about, permanent and political executive. So under this only we will be reading about the powers of president and the prime minister and about the cabinet ministers. And the last part of this chapter will be about judiciary. Okay, here we will be reading about the functioning of the judiciary, the Supreme Court and the High Court as a part of the judicial system. Okay, so that was what we are going to learn in this chapter. So before we get into the working of institutions, before we get to understand what institutions are, let us start our chapter by understanding how major policy decisions are taken by the government in a democracy. Okay, so your chapter starts with an example of such decision that was taken by the government, okay, in the form of office memorandum. All right, so let's get to that first, and then from this example we'll get a proper knowledge of how a decision is taken. Okay, and after that we will move on to understanding what the various institutions are and how they work about. Okay, so now office memorandum, basically it is a communication issued by an appropriate authority which states the policy or decision of a government. Okay, so whenever government takes a decision, that decision is issued by a particular department or a particular authority. Okay, जो authorized गरेको छ, that department takes out the communication. Okay, takes out a memorandum. Okay, which states the decision or the policy that has been taken by the government. So that is what you understand by an office memorandum. Okay, so you see the government every day they take hundreds of decisions on different matters. All right, so this decisions of the government is passed to the different departments. All right, and the department the government को decision they issue a communication which is called the office memorandum. Okay, so in our chapter we have an example of one such office memorandum that was passed by a particular department after the decision was taken by the government. Okay, so let us look at that first. So in page number 79 of your book, you will find a government order that was issued on August 13th, 1990. Okay, so the government of India issued an order, and this came to be known as Office Memorandum. Okay, so like any other government orders, it had a number. Okay, and the number, OM number, Office Memorandum number of this particular order was 36012/31/90/East SCT. Okay, dated on 13th August 1990. So this is the time when this order, this office memorandum was passed. Alright, so the joint secretary of the officer in the Department of Personnel and Training in the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pension signed the order. So this office memorandum, okay, the office memorandum, the part of this has been given here. Okay, you can see it here. Alright, the date and everything is given here. So this order was signed by the joint secretary of the Department of Personnel and Training, which comes under the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. Okay, so it was quite short. It was barely one page office memorandum. This, if you see this order, it looks like a very ordinary order. Okay, it does not look very significant. Okay, it looks like a ordinary circular that you might have seen every day. Okay, at different places. But this was one of a very important, and it became a source of many controversy for several years. Okay, so we are now going to see how the decision was taken. So before we move on to that, let's see the subject of this. What is the subject here? 27% reservation for socially and educationally backward classes in civil post and services. That means this office memorandum 36012/31/90, which was passed on 13th August 1990, okay, and which was signed by the Joint Secretary of the Department of Personnel and Training. This order is, it's communicating a very important decision that was passed by the government then. Okay, and what was that decision? Giving 27% reservation to the socially and educationally backward classes in all the civil post and services. Alright, so let us see now how this decision was taken. Okay, so we clearly know that this office memorandum is communicating a decision made by the government, the decision of giving 27% reservation. Okay, 27% reservation socially and educationally backward classes like government decision लिएको छ. त्यो decision चाहिँ यो office memorandum ले के गर्दैछ, people like communicate गर्दैछ through the Department of Personnel and Training. Alright, so let us see now how this office memorandum 36012/31/90 was passed. Now for that we have to read about the Mandal Commission. Okay, now in 1979, okay, that means we are going back time. Okay, that means we are traveling back to time. We are seeing how this decision of 27% reservation was passed by the government. Okay, so we will be reading about something called the Mandal Commission, because this is related to the decision, okay, that was passed in that office memorandum 36012. Okay, so 1979 ma the government of India le एउटा second backward classes commission appoint गर्यो. Okay, so second backward classes commission भन्ने एउटा body के गर्यो, appoint गर्यो 1979 मा. And this body was headed by BP Mandal. Okay, so त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यसलाई popularly Mandal Commission भनेर हामीले it is known. Alright, so यो Mandal Commission now किन form भएको थियो? What was the objective of forming this Mandal Commission or the second backward commission? Okay, so second backward commission, okay, र Mandal Commission भनेको एउटै हो. It's just that BP Mandal चाहिँ यो commission को leader थियो. Okay, so त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it came to be known as Mandal Commission. Okay, so किन form भएको थियो यो Mandal Commission? Okay, the objective was that this commission was assigned a task. एउटा काम दिएको थियो उनीहरुलाई. Okay, and what was that? It was asked to determine the criteria to identify the socially and the educationally backward classes in India and recommend steps to be taken for their advancement. That means your commission ko kaam चाहिँ के थियो भन्दाखेरि जति पनि socially and educationally backward classes छ इन्डियामा, okay, so उनीहरुलाई आइडेन्टिफाई गर्नको लागि एउटा certain criteria form गर्नु, okay, र त्यति मात्रै हैन, okay, SCBC मा को आउँछ त्यो मात्रै चिन्नु हैन, but त्यो SCBC मा आउने जति पनि different kind of people हरु छ what steps can be taken for the advancement, that means उनीहरूलाई इम्प्रुभ गर्नुको लागि, उनीहरूको स्टेटसलाई इम्प्रुभ गर्नुको लागि, उनीहरूको कन्डिसनलाई इम्प्रुभ गर्नुको लागि चाहिँ के स्टेप्सहरू लिन सक्छ त्यो रेकमेन्ड पनि गर्नु भनेर दिस मण्डल कमिसन वाज फर्मड इन 1979. Okay, in 1980 the Mandal Commission they submitted the report. Okay, so 1980 मा उनीहरूले 1 year भित्रमा उनीहरूले जति पनि स्टडी गरेर 1980 मा उनीहरूले यो उनीहरूको जति पनि रेकमेन्डेसन्सहरू छ त्यो मण्डल कमिसनले सबमिट गर्यो. Okay, and out of this many recommendation, of course there were many recommendation, थुप्रो recommendations थियो, र त्यसमा one of the recommendation was giving 27% of reservation to the socially and economically backward classes in all government jobs. That means जति पनि government jobs, civil post services हुन्छ त्यसमा चाहिँ SCBC मा आउने, this was a new category that was formed. Okay, त्यो भन्दा अगाडि हाम्रोमा ST र SC category थियो जसको लागि reservations थियो. Okay, but it was felt that scheduled tribe र scheduled caste मात्रै backward people हैन, there were some other communities in India, some other caste in India who were equally backward. Alright, so now SEBC भन्ने एउटा नयाँ socially and economically backward classes भन्ने एउटा नयाँ class form भयो. Okay, र अब चाहिँ यो SEBC मा आउने, okay, that is socially and economically backward classes मा आउने peopleहरुको लागि पनि 27% reservation हुनुपर्छ jobs मा भनेर this was also one of the recommendation put forth by the Mandal Commission. Okay, so are you getting the idea how the how the decision of 27% reservation चाहिँ कहाँबाट आएको रहेछ? It comes from the Mandal Commission, okay, which submitted its report in the year 1980. Okay, so this is the roots. Okay, this is how the decision of that Office Memorandum 36012 was passed by the government. Okay, so this is how it came into formation. Now, the benefit of job reservation would now be extended to a new category called the SEBC. Okay, so as I said earlier, okay, पहिला चाहिँ यो भन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ, that means 1980 अगाडि चाहिँ reservation was only for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Alright, but now a new category called the SEBC was formed. Okay, socially and economically backward classes भन्ने एउटा नयाँ class form भयो र अब चाहिँ job reservation को benefit चाहिँ उनीहरूले पनि पाउने भयो. Okay, now these reports and recommendations were discussed in the parliament. See, after the Mandal Commission gave the report, okay, उनीहरूले आफ्नो report, आफ्नो recommendation बुझाएपछि government ले त्यसलाई त्यो recommendation लाई accept गरिहालेन. Okay, there was a process that was followed. Okay, because in a democracy, decision लिनु भन्दा अगाडि there are a lot of process that you have to follow. Okay, so you've read about this in the previous chapters also. Right, so the reports जति पनि Mandal Commission ले दिएको reports, recommendations all of that became it was discussed in the parliament, because parliament is the highest forum of debates and discussion. Okay, so parliament is the place where our selected or elected MPs and MLAs they sit together and they take all the decisions, right? So in the parliament, okay, all this parliamentarians the member of the parliaments okay, they all began to sit and they began to discuss on the report and the recommendations submitted by the Mandal Commission. Okay, many parties and the parliamentarians they kept demanding for implementation of the Mandal Commission report. Okay, Mandal Commission ko जुन चाहिँ report recommendation छ त्यसलाई implement गर्नुपर्छ भनेर many parties and parliamentarians they supported this idea. Okay, but nothing really happened. Alright, the discussion continued further for many years. It lasted for many years. Okay, so 1980 ma the report was submitted. After that the discussion had began. Okay, but till 1989 nothing much happened on the Mandal Commission's recommendations and report. Okay, then came the election of 1989. So 1989 ma Lok Sabha elections too, and in the Lok Sabha election one of the political party that was participating was Janata Dal. Okay, so Janata Dal bane this political party was there who was participating in the Lok Sabha election. The Janata Dal leader, okay, they promised that if they win the election then they will implement the Mandal Commission. Okay, so Mandal Commission recommendations we will implement if we win the election. That was one of the agendas or issues taken by the Janata Dal in the 1989 Lok Sabha elections. Okay, so what happened is that 1989 Lok Sabha election ma Janata Dal won the election and they actually formed the government. Okay, now they have given the promise that they will now implement the Mandal Commission's recommendation. All right, so what happened is the leader of the Janata Dal, the leader was then VP Singh. When he became the prime minister, he began to take different measures in order to implement the commission's report. That means Mandal Commission ko jun report recommendations छ त्यसलाई implement गर्नको लागि अब prime minister and his party began to take many steps, okay, different measures and finally it was implemented in the form of office memorandum number 36012/31/90. Okay, so finally office memorandum 36012 को form मा चाहिँ that a decision was passed. Okay, so this is the story behind the 27% reservation to the socially and economically backward classes. Okay, so this is how the office memorandum number 36012/31/90 जुन चाहिँ memorandum Department of Personnel and Training ले निकाल्यो, that was actually the decision that was passed by the political party, the government जुन चाहिँ छ form भएको थियो, that party had passed the decision, of course with the support of all the members of the parliament. Okay, so from this example, okay, from the example of office memorandum number 36012/31/90, okay, dated 13th August, from this example we can get the idea how the decisions are taken in a democracy. Okay, so clearly a decision takes a lot of time. Okay, we saw that 1980 the report was submitted by the Mandal Commission, and only in the year 1990 it took 10 years span of time to actually pass the decision. Okay, so this is what happens in a democracy. A decision making process is very slow. Okay, but we know that it takes a lot of time, but it is actually better because in that process there is a lot of chances to to think about the decision. Okay, so many corrections can be done. Okay, so many people can give their opinion. Okay, so although a lot of time is taken, but finally the decision that is taken, it is always better. Okay, so that is what happens in a democracy. Okay, and we saw that all this 10 years span ma so many parliamentarians, okay, so many members of the parliament, so many different leaders, they were involved. Okay, they gave their decisions. Okay, there were so many discussions, there were so many debates. Okay, so many after so many people gave their thoughts and their ideas, only finally in the year 1990 the decision was passed in the form of this office memorandum number 36012/31/90. Okay, so from this example, as I said earlier, we get to understand how a decision is passed in a democracy. Clearly, only one person does not take the decision, right? So a lot of people are involved. Now let's see what happened after the office memorandum number 36012 was passed. How did the people react to the office memorandum number 36012/31/90? So it became a very hotly debated issue. Okay, once this office memorandum number was passed, okay, 27% reservation to the SEBC, this decision was once communicated to the people, it became a hotly debated issue in the country. That means everywhere people began to discuss on this issue. Okay, newspapers, magazines, okay, news channels, everywhere people were giving their views, different views on the decision that was passed by the government. There were many protests in the country, okay, and there were also counter protests. Okay, that means protest against the protest pani bhayo. Okay, and some of the places the protest also took a very violent form. Okay, naturally because it affected thousands of job seekers. All right, some of the people felt that there is a lot of inequality in the country. This kind of reservation is good. Okay, so inequality cha India ma. Okay, not everybody is not all the caste, not all the communities are equal. So reservation is a good idea. It should be there. There were some people who felt that. Okay, there were other people who felt that this kind of reservation would create inequality of opportunities. Okay, reservations are भयो भने सबैजनाले के पाउँदैन, opportunities equally पाउँदैन. Okay, they would be denied jobs even if they are more qualified. Okay, जसले reservation को benefit पाउँदैन. Okay, these people especially, they felt that reservation should not be there. Okay, that means जसले reservation को फाइदा उठाउनु पाउँदैन. Okay, that means जो SCBC मा आउँदैन, okay, जो ST जो SC मा आउँदैन, उनीहरुको लागि त यो बेनिफिशियल भएन नि. Okay, in many cases के हुन्छ, उनीहरुकोमा क्वालिफिकेसन, उनीहरुकोमा सबै कुरो भएर पनि उनीहरुले के पाउँदैन, jobs उनीहरु deny हुनु सक्छ. So there were some people who were not in favor of the decision that was passed by this office memorandum number 36012. Okay, there were other people who felt that this kind of decision of the government would hamper the national unity. That means nation ko junche unity cha, the different kind of people who are living together, the national unity would be affected when the government takes such kind of decision. All right, so there were different people with different kind of views. There were some who were in favor of this decision, there were some who were against it. Okay, some felt that this is against the national unity. Okay, so the people who were not liking this decision of the government, they filed cases in the courts. Okay, उनीहरुले कोर्टमा के गर्यो, केस against the government को यो decision को against मा उनीहरुले एउटा केस फाइल गर्न थाले पिपलहरुले. That means people who are not happy with the decision of the government, they began to file cases in the different courts all over the country. Okay, so now the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of law, right? Supreme Court is सबसे ठुलो हो नि. There is nothing beyond the Supreme Court. Once the decision is passed by the Supreme Court, everybody, all the other courts, all the people of India, okay, rich or poor, irrespective of their backgrounds, they have to accept the decision of the Supreme Court. Okay, so Supreme Court is very powerful. So what did the Supreme Court do is that whatever cases are there against this office memorandum number, they bunched all the cases together. Okay, all these common people only, you office memorandum को against मा case file गरेको छ. All these cases were brought together, bunch गरे उनीहरुले, एउटै बनाइदियो. Okay, and it came to be called as Indira Sahane and others versus the Union of India. That means Indira Sahane was one name and others, अरु people हरु जो यो case को against मा छ, versus the Union of India, because the Union of India, the Union government, the central government ले यो decision के गरेको छ, pass गरेको छ नि, right? So this case came to be known as Indira Sahane and others versus the Union of India. Okay, so after this case was bunched together, now 11 judges of the Supreme Court, they heard the arguments on both the sides. That means Union government company and the common people company who are against this office memorandum, the case was heard, because that is what the court is supposed to do, right? That is what the judge is supposed to do. Before the judge takes the decision, gives the verdict, okay, he has to listen to both the sides. Okay, so 11 judges, they heard the arguments from both the sides. Okay, and by majority, the Supreme Court judges in 1992 declared that this order of the government of India was valid. Okay, so after the case was heard, finally Supreme Court, they gave the decision that whatever the government has whatever order that the government has issued, okay, the order एकदमै के छ, valid छ. That means there is nothing wrong in it. It should be there. Okay, reservation is not a bad idea. है यो हुनुपर्छ, ठिकै छ भनेर government of India is right. In favor of government of India, the Supreme Court passed the decision in 1992. Okay, but at the same time, the Supreme Court, they also asked the government to bring about some changes in the original order. Okay, all right, so government of India को जुन चाहिँ decision छ त्यसलाई valid भनेर भन्यो Supreme Court ले, but along with that it also suggested the government to make slight modification. That means slight changes to office memorandum मा चाहिँ ल्याउनु पर्छ, त्यो order मा some changes has to be brought भनेर. That was the decision that was made by the Supreme Court in 1992. Okay, and the recommendation, if you see the suggestion that was made, it was very clear. It said that well-to-do person among the backward classes should be excluded from getting the benefit of reservation. Okay, so this is very clearly mentioned that the well-to-do people, that means जुन चाहिँ backward classes हरुमा जति पनि well-to-do people छ, see the people in the backward classes, not all the people in the backward classes are poor, right? Not all the people in the backward classes are underprivileged. Okay, there are many people who are from the backward classes, but they are educated, they are privileged, they are rich. All right, so those people from the backward classes who are well to do, right, जसले चाहिँ आफै sustain गर्न सक्छ, those people should not get the benefit of this 27% reservation. Okay, and accordingly the Department of Personnel and Training issued another office memorandum on September 8, 1993. So 1992 मा Supreme Court ले order दियो, त्यसको बादमा Department of Personnel and Training जसले चाहिँ यो order issue गरेको थियो government को नाममा, उनीहरूले त्यो order मा के ल्यायो, changes ल्यायो, and it was reissued in the year 1993. September 8, 1993 ma another office memorandum was issued after bringing the changes that were suggested by the Supreme Court. This is the first one, 27% reservation for the socially and educationally backward classes in all civil posts and services, dated 13/8/1990. So this was the original order. Okay, and after the Supreme Court gave the decision in 1992, the Department of Personnel and Training, they issued the second order. Okay, this is the next order that was introduced, okay, in the year 1993. Okay, 8th September 1993 ma Department of Personnel and Training ले नयाँ order के गरे issue गर्यो after the after implementing the suggestion that was made by the Supreme Court. Now let's see the subject here. Reservation of other backward classes in civil post and services under the Government of India. Okay, so this is you can see the change here. Okay, earlier it was talking about SEBC. Okay, now this has been changed as what? Other backward classes. Now reservation is for the other backward classes in all civil post and services. Okay, so this is how whenever the government takes a decision, okay, whenever problem arises while implementing the decision, the decision implement गर्दाखेरि यदि कुनै problems arise भयो भने चाहिँ, this is how the judiciary comes into action. Okay, the courts, okay, the judges, the Supreme Court, the High Court, okay, they intervene in the matter and they solve the solve these cases, or whenever disputes arises between the people and the government, कसले solve गर्दो रहेछ त्यसलाई? The Supreme Court, okay, or the High Court. That means the judiciary ले त्यो केसलाई के गर्छ, त्यो प्रब्लमलाई के गर्छ, solve गर्छ. Okay, I hope you are clear with this example of office memorandum, how decisions are made, and how when issues arise, when problem arises, the judiciary, how they try to resolve the problem and find a solution to the problem. Okay, whenever such kind of situation arises. So I hope you're clear with this.